welcome to QI for a show all about joints. And joining me are the shapely ankles of Cal Wilson, the sharp elbows of Jack Whitehall, the cold shoulders of Jimmy Carr, and hip, hip, hooray, it's Alan Davies! But before we begin, let's hear your buzzers, and Jack goes...
The finger bone connected to the hand bone.
And Jimmy goes...
The hand bone connected to the wrist bone.
And Cal goes...
The wrist bone connected to the arm bone.
And Alan goes...
The minute you walked in the joint.
Oh! And then he walked in the joint.
J for joint.
J for joint. Very good. Excellent. All right. Well, now, Alan, we're going to make your life a little easier. We're going to lower the lights
I can go home?
Yeah. Wait. Now...
Oh, this is unfair. Alan gets a girl. I've got Jack.
I'm going to ask Alan...
girl.
Steady, steady. I'm going to ask Alan a very specific question now. Can you feel your sphincter relaxing? It's a perfectly innocent question.
I must say, I thought it was until you asked me.
Well, what you might have said is, which sphincter?
Oh, of course. Oh.
Because you may not know this, but you have many sphincters.
Oh, I know
Yes?
I know a thing or two about sphincters.
Tell me about sphincters.
I once had, this may not be an appropriate story.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
I once had a bladder complaint. This is not STI, it was just I was getting up in the middle
Why
of
are
the
you
night to
looking at
pee.
me when you say that?
I thought you would understand. If you go to the doctor, sometimes they say, well, look, we're going to pop a camera in, we're going to have an explore. And it was in my bladder. There was a bit of an issue in my bladder. So they decided to get a camera and just pop it in my bladder. And obviously the easiest way to get in is through
the schlong.
Is through the schlong. And I imagined the camera would be like the width of a human hair. It was like a pen.
Oh!
And they fed it in, and it was about 10 years ago I had this.
Right,
and it was about 10 years ago, and it was a lovely nurse that was doing the procedure. And as she sort of fed, she went, "What do you do for a living?" She was trying to start conversation at this awkward moment in a man's life. She went, "What do you do for a living?" And I went, "I'm a comedian." And she went, "Tell us a joke." And it is a matter of professional pride that I did.
Oh, well done.
They offer you the DVD, though, at the end, don't they? If they've put a camera in you, you get given the DVD. But for what eventuality? My dad got one inside of his things.
Yes.
But, like, when is that
His
appropriate?
doings.
At Christmas. Oh, let's not watch The Great Escape this year. Let's watch your dad's song.
The Great Escape is presumably when they pull the camera out. But then the reason I mention that is because of there are two sphincters on the way in. And actually, the painful bit is when they have to go, we're just going to go through the sphincter. You might feel a little tightening.
Yeah.
You might feel a little something.
Because
and it's got a camera.
Wait, it looks like you're playing snooker or something. You're just going to hit the camera into the...
The point is, a sphincter is a ring of muscle that can contract and expand. And we lowered the lights so that your eye sphincters, your optic sphincters, will have dilated your eyes, Alan. So your sphincters will have relaxed.
All of my sphincters are clenched.
Oh.
There's no photograph in my innards this evening.
They can expand or contract.
We have
sight and delight.
Endoscope here that you... No, we don't worry, it's all right. It's fine, you really won't worry.
I did have a similar experience to Jimmy's in New Zealand. I was going for a ladies' examination, and so lying there with this doctor doing the examination, and she's sort of tinkering away, and then she goes, "Haven't I seen you on Thank God You're Here?" Which is a TV show back home, and I went, "Yes, but why are you recognising me now?"
I went to get something looked at, which was a sort of rash near the top of my leg, so it was a slight worry. It turns out it was nothing. But I didn't know that at the time, and I went in to have it examined, and he did the thing where he recognised me, but he thought I was George Lamb. He said, "Oh, you're that guy, George Lamb." And I was about to go and correct him, but then I thought, if that is an STI, I'd rather if George Lamb had it than I did.
Anyway, so you've got... the other thing is you even have within your capillary system, your blood system, each has a little sphincter, so the chances are we probably have thousands. Nobody quite knows how many sphincters we have. We have thousands and thousands of them. So, now, what is this?
Snake.
Excuse me?
Is it a snake?
Oh, dear. Oh, what
Is it a legless lizard?
Yes, it's the right answer. It's a lizard.
How can you tell it's drunk?
It keeps going, I love you. You're great,
Best
I
mate,
love
come
you.
here.
Don't go, have another one.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I mean, snakes you think of, obviously, as looking like that, but lizards can look like that, too. They don't have to have legs. And in fact, 2/3 of that is tail. As a real snake, now, real snakes have got, you know, these movable jaws, these... and lizards don't.
I think you're thinking of dogs.
That was uncanny, wasn't it? It was like a snake was in the room.
And it's always...
For a moment there, I was, oh, God, Stephen.
a few. Also, the eyes are very different. Snake eyes are very particular with this kind of film over it.
Other difference, of course, I don't have a lizard in my trousers.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, in England you get a particular...
Adders, vipers,
Yes.
and grass snakes.
And grass, and there's
boots.
another kind, which I had in my garden in Norfolk not long ago, which is a slow worm. There. Which is neither a worm nor a snake, but again is a lizard, a legless lizard.
My brother had them, I think, when he came back from school once.
Yeah, what do you mean? You mean in his tummy?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, and we couldn't lick the loose... Well, not that we were licking the loose seat before. But he was accused of that's what he'd been doing at school, and then we had to get rid of them because he had the worms and stuff. But that looks a lot
They
bigger.
accused him of licking
what?
the loose seat.
No, because that's how you get worms.
By licking the loose seat.
I think that's how, yeah.
Oh,
you lick the loose seat.
Sorry, the
and then you
loose
get
seat.
worms in your
I thought
belly.
you said Lucy. I thought that was a the loose seat.
You get worms by licking the loose seat.
Yeah, that's definitely a
loose
fact.
seat.
That's my first fact of the evening. There we are. Off to a flyer. Lick the loose seat and you will get worms of the belly.
You'll get more than worms, you'll get universal contempt.
You can get a lot of STIs from loose seats, interestingly, Stephen, but only if you sit down before the last guy's got up.
That's terrible.
True story. True story.
Is that STI? Is that sexually transmitted information?
Sexually transmitted information should be a thing, shouldn't it?
It sounds like the late-night version of QI, though, doesn't it? It's like the
Yes,
adult after 12
STI.
STI.
Yes.
Welcome to STI.
provocative questions.
I like the sound of it.
All right. Well, now, let's play Stick the Knees on the Elephants. You should have cards with elephants on, and you should have little red dots. And all you have to do is stick your red dot on the knees of the elephant. It's as simple as that. It's a little fun art craft thing that you can do.
I feel a little bit like we've underperformed and we've been taken to a special class.
Yes.
Where it's mainly arts and crafts and colouring in, and you know what? You can't fail. We've all done very well.
That's right.
I'm just doing polka dots.
Very sweet, but try and do it on the knees of the elephant if you can.
I think elephants have got a lot of knees. That's my... Because otherwise, why would you have given us this many dots?
It's just a lot of that. You don't have to use all the dots, I may say.
This elephant's actually got the same thing that Jack used to have at the top of his thigh. It turns out it was nothing, but it was a real worry.
Yes.
I've marked his sphincter on there as well.
So have
Well
I.
done. Oh,
so
there
have
you are.
I. We've got
snap.
matching sphincters.
Yes. All right, so if you'd like to present and show.
So, sphincter, eyes, because it's nice to get to know them. And 4 knees.
Can you just tilt the card forward a bit so they're not too shiny? They reflect on the camera there.
I've gone 4 knees on each.
Are you tilting it forward a bit as
Oh,
asked?
sorry.
No, you're not, are
I can't get taken down to a lower class than this.
you? Yeah, there you go.
What are you doing, arts and crafts?
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Knees and knees.
Well, I mean,
Mine's a daddy
Knees on the
elephant,
front,
though,
none
so-
on the back.
everyone except Alan has at least managed to put dots on the knees, which are at the back of the elephant, because the front 2 joints are elbows. All mammals, essentially.
Whoa, hang on. Whoa, you're going to have to back up there a little bit. He's got elbows on his
his front legs, yes. His front legs are essentially arms. I mean, the bones in his front leg are the radius and the ulna, just like ours. They're essentially walking on their hands and on their hind legs. And we may think of elephants as having 4 knees. They don't. They only have the 2 knees at the back. The 2 front ones are elbows. It seems unlikely, but it's true.
That means my interesting bar fact that I tell everybody, that the elephant is the only animal in the world that has 4 knees, is complete rubbish.
Exactly. And it's a common fact you'll find on the internet, and it's a lie.
Wow.
And any zoologist will tell you so.
I felt sorry for an elephant the other day. I watched it on the new BBC show about Planet Earth Live.
Oh, don't talk to me about that. Yes.
With Richard Hammond on it. Richard Hammond was stood in front of all of these elephants in one of his tragic midlife crisis necklaces, and it definitely had ivory on it. It did! It had a little thing! That's probably one of his cousins!
They put Richard Hammond out in the middle of the night with lots of lions around, just hoping that he would be savage live on television.
I'm afraid it's -10 to everybody except Alan. That's very good. So, well done, Alan. In fact, you got it right, didn't you, in the end?
No, I didn't. I put 2 knees. I thought it only had 2 knees.
Which it does.
But I put them on the front.
Oh, you yes, you get the -10. Sorry about that. And in fact, we can have here, look, a man here. How many legs does a sheep have, according to him?
Oh,
4 legs.
Wristbone.
Oh, dear, no. No.
I go, none.
If you go into a butcher, you can order a leg of lamb, or you can order 2 legs of lamb. But if it was from just the one lamb, you'd have 2 legs.
2 legs and 2 drumsticks.
We have leg of lamb and we have...
Shoulder.
Shoulder. They call the front legs of a lamb the shoulder. And if it was a pig, what are the front legs of a pig called? When
Drumsticks.
No, they're not drumsticks. They're not sausages either.
Sausages is the best guess.
No, hands, actually. Hand of pig is if you go into a butcher. Yeah, they call them hands.
Hand of pig.
Yeah.
I've experienced hand of pig before.
I'm sure you have.
Well, I apologise. Don't go on about it.
That's why you're on that side.
Exactly. So it's a court order. So, yes. By the way, how does an elephant drink?
With its trunk.
Oh, Eleni woo.
Oh, look.
Do you know, there's a sense in which prepositionally you were correct, because it does drink
I don't understand
with
what that means, I'm afraid.
You said with its trunk. You didn't say through its trunk.
Through its trunk.
It doesn't drink through its trunk. In a sense, it does drink with its trunk.
Scoops it
cup.
into its mouth.
Because it sucks it up and then blows it
I know the
back into
answer
its
to
mouth.
this. They drink to forget, don't they?
That's why. So they don't suck it up, they drown. It's their nose, any more than if we drank through our nose, we'd be in real trouble.
You can do that thing with tequila shots through your nose, though, can't you?
Oh, yes, you can.
You can, yeah. That's. I mean, it's not a way to hydrate.
No.
You know how sometimes if you're violently ill
Yes.
and you're sick and it comes out your mouth and your nose, could an elephant vomit out its trunk?
I wouldn't be surprised if it could. And I don't know if anybody's been cruel enough to experiment on making an elephant dependent on cocaine, because that would be a pretty extraordinarily expensive habit, wouldn't it?
I view that as the highest calling of the stand-up comedian. If you're doing a concert and you can make someone, you can time a joke so that someone's taking a sip and it comes out their nose.
Yeah, that is
It's just the best thing when they've ruined their evening.
Imagine if you made an elephant laugh so much that something came out its trunk.
Or, of course,
And then it applauded.
I remember
With its hands.
the front of house staff at the Savoy Theatre many years ago, when Noises Off, the Michael Frayn thing, told me that every single day there were wet seats. People wet themselves laughing.
Isn't that because elderly people go to the cinema?
No, it's not.
In the theatre. I did a gig in Reading, Reading Festival, and I was doing so well on stage, actually, someone in the audience wet himself straight into a bottle and then threw it. That's how good I was doing. I was that funny.
Does that really
Hit me straight
happen?
on the head.
Does that really happen? I mean, I used to
People
like
throw
Monsters of Rock at Donington, they do that, don't they? But I
They
didn't-
throw stuff up onto the
Yeah,
the
but full of
stage.
urine. They didn't break, though.
Well, it's like when Bono was meant to play at Glastonbury and then he pulled out, and I'd been literally saving up months' worth of piss to throw at him, and I had to wait for an entire year.
You poor thing.
Had about that much, like a vat.
Water cannon.
Bono, he does come in for it, doesn't he? Bless him.
He did his back in, that's why he couldn't do it there, which is fair enough, because I imagine my back would be pretty sore if I'd spent the last 20 years with my head up my own arse.
Oh, wow. Wowza Rudy. Yes, your skeleton is just like Jumbo's, but apart from that, what else do we have in common with elephants, uniquely with elephants?
Tusks. Tusks.
We don't really have tusks.
We do, big tusks.
Walruses have tusks and other
I was
animals
thinking of
have
walruses, sorry.
Is it after a certain age you get horrible whiskers under your chin?
Oh, now, you just said, what's the last word you said?
Chin.
That's it. It's as simple as that. Very oddly, the only mammals that have chins are humans and elephants. You may say, hang on, dogs have chins. No, they don't.
Wow.
They don't have chins. Look at that real chin bone. Chin bone on the right, obviously the elephant, the left the human being. But no, obviously there's a big difference, but they both have chins.
The elephant one, the actual face structure looks a bit like one of those women on Made in Chelsea. Because they do, all those women on Made in Chelsea look like a horse that swallowed an anvil, and it's just sitting there. I was watching it on 3D TV the other day, and one of them started talking about her gap year, and nearly knocked off my sofa.
P.G. Woodhouse thing about the sort of goofy upper-class person who looked as if he'd swallowed a laundry basket. You know, that sort of thick neck.
And the constant look on their face like they've just forgotten their own name.
Right. And the weird thing is nobody quite knows why we have chins, as it were. I mean, we know that they're extremely useful for various things, speech and so on, but do we have a chin because we can speak, or do we speak because we have a chin?
So no one knows why we've got a chin?
No, there are things we can do with it. I agree. We can stroke it.
I am currently peacocking. That's what I'm doing with this.
Are you?
Yeah, this beard is peacocking. That's what I'm doing.
In as much as it's got an attractive display to
for
attract
ladies.
women.
So the ladies in here are currently impressed by this. I am peacocking with my beard. I know they might not be showing it now.
I would try and peacock a little less camply.
Okay.
Just a suggestion, if you're the ladies you want to...
Oi, babes, check this out.
That's better. There you go.
Whoa, I call it the clunge sponge. Whoa.
Maybe...
Split the difference.
Split the difference. Oh, yeah. Anyway, the ancient Greeks used it for earache. Columbus took 80 tons of it to America, and Henry VIII made it compulsory. What am I talking about?
Oh, hang on a second. What's the theme of the show? It's joints?
Yes.
I'm going to guess marijuana.
Oh, marijuana is the right answer. Cannabis, yes.
So he took 80 tons to America?
Yes.
You're saying that he's
Columbus
a trafficker? Saying Columbus is a drug trafficker?
He must have had a very big sphincter.
It was pretty enormous.
Pretty nervous when you got across them, I would imagine.
Well, as you probably know, cannabis plant is also used for the creation of hemp and ropes. He had tons of it just on his ship alone, of rope made from hemp. And also, it was made under King James, it was made compulsory for the colonials to grow it and to use it. They mostly wore hemp clothing. And hemp was used as an oil, as a lubricant, and all kinds of things. As you can buy hemp oil now. But by the middle of the 19th century, cannabis was recommended by the US Pharmacopoeia for the following disorders: neuralgia, tetanus, typhus, cholera, rabies, dysentery, alcoholism, anthrax, leprosy, incontinence, snakebite, gout, tonsillitis, and insanity. So
that seemed to be a list of pretty much everything, though. I would imagine if you went into the chemist, it sounds like they only had one thing. No. What have you got? Well, I'll have a think.
Well, there's a Greek word for that, panacea, a cure-all, literally. And so they did more or less think it was a panacea, as they did so many drugs, as they did heroin when that came out, and cocaine.
Well, in defence of both of those, it will take the edge off.
But there are still people who believe it. People are very keen for the legalisation of medicinal marijuana.
It seems weird that we haven't got medicinal marijuana, but we've got medicinal heroin.
Yes, isn't it?
That's kind of an odd quirk, isn't it?
Well, I suppose so, except that, of course, there is no real painkiller available except the one that we get from the poppy, which includes morphine and heroin. We just can't make a drug that does the same thing.
Mummy's hugs.
Mummy's hugs and kisses. Oh, sweetheart.
Mummy's hugs.
That's so lovely.
Then if they don't work, heroin.
Yeah. I think you've got it spot on the money, Jack. Absolutely. It's illegal to sell the seeds in America of cannabis, except in one circumstance. Can you imagine what that might be?
Is it if you're going to grow a beanstalk?
No, no. It's for birdseed, funnily enough. Birdseed can have cannabis seeds in it. Anyway, there we are. So, what next? Oh, let's have another pin the something on the something round, shall we? Because we enjoyed that last time enormously, didn't we? So, let's pin the knee on the bird. So stick a little sticker on the bird's knee. That's all you have to do.
Well, it's never going to be where I think it's going to be. In the knee bit.
Or it could be a double buff.
Oh, not a double bluff.
Well, I'm going to put in an early pitch for there. I'm going to say it's got a knee in its neck.
Right.
It's got a knee, and that's how it bends its neck. And it's a little quirk of nature.
Oh, and Jack's put one on.
You're not putting it on the knee, where the knee is.
But he
No,
bites.
because the bendy bit would be... Oh, no, that could be like a little camp-arm.
The wings are going to be the arms this time, aren't they? The wings are the arms, aren't they? The wings are the arms.
Wings are the arms.
The legs are the legs. The legs have got the knees in.
The legs have got the knees in. The legs have got knees.
The knees wear the bend in the middle.
Going
Going knees, I'm going in.
Going in, he's going in, he's going in, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm feeling a double bluff.
You're just covering the entire animal with red dots, Cal.
No, I've just
You're
given
just turning it into...
I've given it a perm.
You're giving it a coxcomb. There we are. So you've... Ah, dear, I'm afraid, Alan, you've fallen into our little trap. Those
shit.
Those are not the knees. People think birds' knees goes backwards. Those are ankles.
Oh, you see?
You see,
I
those
thought it was
are
going to be
ankles.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Here, maybe?
There. Now, Jack. Points for Jack. You lose one for the bottom one, which is there. Forget that one. Exactly.
It's an unusual flamingo, and then it's got a duck coming out of its arm.
It's pretty hard to deny.
Where are the duck's knees? Ask the flamingo.
Yeah. Well, there are the knees at the top. They're usually covered in feather. And the bottom bit is the ankle. I know
So there's a very real chance if you kicked a flamingo in the knees and the balls at the same time. That's some pain, isn't it?
Whoa, yes.
Because they must be up in the same sort of area.
Yes, they don't really have testicles, though, do they? I mean, they have little sexual parts.
It'd be quite a
So
different...
as do I.
It'd be quite an unnerving sight as flocks of flamingos flew overhead if they did have dangling testicles.
Boy, girl, boy,
Very
girl,
worrying.
boy, girl.
So do I get a point? Have I got a point?
I think you've got a point, Jack. Yeah.
There's an apple for you.
Oh, I can't tell you how much that works. That always works with
where
me.
that came
Thank
from.
you, Jack. Oh, bless you, Apple.
Starts with an apple, next thing you know, you're in some sort of therapy. Be careful.
Hey, what did Glaswegian women lose on their wedding night?